getting ready to start talking about calluses. So let me get my notes up. I took notes so that we could stay on track here, because that is a lot of times that is one of the biggest issues that I have in my salon with clients, and that is helping them to care for their calluses on their feet. I know it's kind of taboo. People don't like to talk about their feet. They don't like to touch their feet, a lot of things like that. But this is what I do. So I'm just here to offer some tips and suggestions and some help for those of you who might want to learn about your feet and don't want to go out in public and show people your feet because you may have some issues. So with that, we're talking about calluses today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I am April Moore. I'm a medical nail tech, oncology trained, and I am the owner of Fresh Steps Medical Foot and Nail Spa. So if you're not in Texas, I will share some tips and tools that you can use and purchase to help with your home care and taking care of your own feet. And if you are in Texas, you can come out and see me if you're in the North Dallas area. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what are calluses. And calluses basically is just thickened skin. It is usually hard, thick, and has a yellowish tint. It can oftentimes a lot of people mistake calluses as dry skin, and there's a very big difference from having just dry skin and having a callus. And one of the ways you will notice if it's a callus is if it's thick and hard and if it has a yellowish tint. And usually it doesn't really go away with just wiping it off or just putting moisturizer on it. You would still be able to feel the hardness of the skin. So how do we get, well, what causes calluses? And so simply, calluses are developed as a protection mechanism on your feet, or even some people get calluses on their hands. But with the calluses, they're developed as a protection mechanism against friction and pressure. So if there's too much friction in a spot on your foot or hands, or there's too much pressure in a certain place, then you will develop a callus. And that callus is developed to protect the healthy skin underneath, because the hard skin, it dies and it gets hard and it stays there to protect the healthy skin underneath. And so with the callus forming, again, it's protecting your skin. So one thing you want to remember is that if you have a callus, you don't want to get rid of the callus. So how do we get calluses? You can get callus from a number. Okay, so I got to think that the connection was bad, so I'm hoping it's getting better. So you can get calluses from a number of different ways. Here's the most common things that I've seen in my salon. Improper footwear. People wearing high heel shoes. People's shoes are too loose, too tight. If your shoes are too tight, then they tend to rub up against the sides of your shoe. If they're too loose, your feet tends to slide inside the shoe, causing that friction. If you're in high heel shoes, your feet are sitting at a different angle, and that can cause friction and pressure under the padding of your feet here. Weight gain can cause hey Kimberly, weight gain can cause you to have calluses on your feet if there's too much friction on your feet from the way that you're walking. The way that you walk can cause calluses. Some people are flat-footed, and so instead of their feet being having a little arch in there like that, kinda, their feet may be flat and they may walk inward. Some people are what they call pigeon-toed. So it could be the way that you're walking. It can be a structural thing such as hammer toes, bunions, lack of fatty padding under the ball of your foot. These are your toes. This will be the ball of your foot. And so there's a padding there. And if you're lacking that padding, that can cause friction and pressure on your foot, which can also cause calluses. So calluses can develop from a number of different things. But what I will tell you is one of the most important things that I see that causes people to develop calluses is lack of foot care, period. That means you're not paying attention to what is going on underneath your feet. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on underneath your feet, you don't know that you're developing these calluses. You don't know that there's something going on with your feet, and therefore you're not caring for it, and it's just gonna get worse. And so in order for us to, hey Charles, long time no see, years. So in order for you to be able to care for your feet and the calluses, you have to pay attention. Basically, you need to pay attention to what's going on with the bottom of your feet. And I know for a lot of us, that's difficult. I've dealt with a lot of clients, especially male clients. They just wash and go. They wash their feet, they halfway dry them, and they go. They put on their shoes, they do whatever because it's really not that important to them. Some men are more into self-care with their feet, but again, the calluses can be caused from a lot of different issues. And so with that, we have to take proper care of our feet. Hey, Carolyn, we're talking about calluses today. And so how do I stop or minimize the occurrence of calluses on the bottom of my feet? The first thing I want to tell you is what you do not do. Do not use any type of sharp cutting objects on the bottom of your feet to remove calluses. That is a big no-no. If you are going to a nail salon and they are using something that looks like a cheese grater, a Credo blade, a scalpel, anything that they are using to cut your skin is a no-no. You do not want to allow them to use anything like that on your foot. The reason being, like I said, the callus is there as a protection mechanism. It is there to protect your feet. You should only be removing about 1/4 of an inch of that callus just to make it comfortable. Because what will happen is if you remove too much of it and it's there to protect, your body knows that and it kind of sends it into shock, which means that callus is going to come back faster and harder because it's working to protect the bottom of your feet or whatever area on your feet that is causing that problem. So in order to completely fix the problem, you have to fix calluses. You have to fix the problem that's causing the callus. So easy fixes are if it's from improper shoe wearing, then you get a better fitting shoe, and that can correct the problem. If it's caused from weight gain, easier said than done, you may have to lose some weight. But if it's caused from more severe issues like hammer toes or bunions or things like that, where you may have to have surgery to correct that, that might not be an easy fix. So what you want to do is be able to maintain them, keep them smoothed down, keep them as low as possible, but you can't get rid of them unless you get rid of the problem that's causing them. And so when you go to salons where they're using blades and cheese graters and they're trying to get it all off, they're actually causing more harm than good to your feet. So just want you to keep that in mind. So you do not want them to remove everything, and you don't want them to cut the skin, because that in itself can cause problems. It can set up infection, cuts. I mean, it can hurt. And some of you may have already experienced that. So you definitely want to be mindful of the tools that are being used on your feet. So as a professional and somebody who specializes in foot care and who's gone through extensive training, I've done a lot of research, and I picked certain tools and instruments to use in my salon that is of a medical grade to help me help my clients. One of the things that I use in my salon is called the angel foot file to reduce calluses. This is the angel foot file. It's not that big. This is actually the professional size, and it's not that big. For me, it works great because I'm coming at your foot from a different angle. I can see your whole foot. I can see it at different angles. I can maneuver around the foot. So this one here is a larger foot file for me to use on my clients. With this, I also use what we call a callus softener. I use professional grade products so that I don't have to work hard. I can work smart. I have this, you can't really see the name because this is the one that I use in the salon, so it's kind of worn off. But this is called a foot spray. In the salon, I use a callus softener, a different type of callus softener, but this is something that I can retail. My callus softener, I don't retail because that is for professional use. However, the angel foot file and the foot spray that I use, I can retail. So the thing about the angel foot file is that this foot file was designed for foot care and to remove callus. The story behind this foot file, and I actually know the person who designed this personally. I've met him, I've talked to him, and the story behind him creating this foot file is that his wife went to a nail salon, and they didn't use the blade or the cheese grater, but what they used was the sandy grit files. And some of you may have seen them. They kind of tear off because they're disposable, but it has a grit on it, and it's like a sandish texture. And what happens is that those textures can also cut through the skin as well. And what happened is that they used it on her foot. It cut through her skin, and she got an infection. So of course she's not going to salons anymore, but she told her husband, like, you have to do something. And by profession, he's an aerospace engineer, like works on planes and things like that. And so he created this angel foot file for the medical industry to be a safer alternative to reducing calluses. So this, it kind of feels sharp, but this is designed to reduce the callus and not cut the skin. So there's a coarse side that you start off with, and then you have the smooth side where you will smooth it out. This is an amazing tool. And so what they also did was they created as a retail size for individuals. And you can see this is a really small tool, but really effective. The good thing about these is that they are sterilizable. You can clean them, you can sterilize them. And for us, we can get about 1,000 pedicures out of this. For a personal use, you probably can have it forever. But it's really small. It really works. It holds great in your hand. And because you as an individual, if you're working on your feet, you would come from a different angle. So this really allows you to target the calluses on your foot and not the whole foot, since you're not able to actually see the entire bottom of your foot. For some people, they're not as flexible. And so this just helps with, you can feel around your foot, target the areas that you need to target. You will get the foot spray. And the foot spray, it's like you spray it on. It's almost like a creamy texture, really light. You would spray it on your foot, rub it in a little bit, and allow it a few minutes just to penetrate. It softens up the skin, which makes it a lot easier from that point for you to go ahead and see. You could probably hear this. I'm rubbing this up against my skin, and it's not cutting my skin. It's not hurting my skin. So it's the same thing with your foot. It's safe for diabetics. Diabetics definitely don't need to be at nail salons having them people cut on their feet, because um, they just can't take that chance. And so with the foot spray and the Angel Foot File, the retail size, this is a perfect combination for home care, because I know I have a lot of people on here that aren't from Texas and can't get to me, but this combination here will definitely help you maintain and care for your calluses at home safely. And that's the key word, safely, without damaging your foot. It doesn't require a lot of work. It doesn't require for you to do a whole lot. This combination here is $65 on my website. The file by itself is $42.95. And you can purchase that directly from the website. I will also put a link on my page to the Angel Foot File, just so you can understand how it is made and why it is a excellent tool for you to use as for me to use as a professional, and for you to use at home for your self-care, because it is made not to hurt the skin. So you can't really hurt yourself using it unless you're just doing too much. But some key things I need you to remember when you're caring for your feet and your calluses is, one, calluses are there as a protection mechanism to pressure or fix friction on your feet. And unless you are getting rid of the problem that's causing it, the calluses will always reoccur. If you're not correcting the problem, then what you want to do is maintain your feet in a safe way, which means reducing the calluses, keeping them smooth, keeping them moisturized so that they don't hurt. And always checking your feet. If you can't literally bend down and look at them, you can always reach your hands down on the bottom of your feet and rub the bottom of your feet to make sure that there's nothing developing. If you have somebody to help you to check your feet, then that is ideal. Somebody that's not afraid to check your feet. But you definitely want to be able to care for your feet at home on your own in a safe manner. And as a professional, what I do with my clients is I educate them on what's going on with their feet and how to properly take care of them in case they can't get to me. So a lot of people that aren't in the area, this is a great alternative for you to be able to safely care for your feet with the retail size of our Angel Foot File and the LCM foot spray. They come in combination, or you can buy one by themselves. It's on the website, and I'll put the link in the comments to the website, as well as on my page. I'll put a link to the video that really gives you the makeup of the Angel Foot File. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns about your feet, I'm here. I'm available. You can always reach out to me. You can email me. You can reach out to me, inbox me here on the page to ask any questions about your foot care, any other concerns. If you think you may suspect that you have athlete's feet or toenail fungus or ingrown toenails, any of those things, I'm happy to help and to offer whatever professional advice that I can, even if it means to refer you to see a podiatrist. I think that's all I have. I just want you all to remember to be safe, to care for your feet. That's the Fresh Steps difference. We don't just provide a service, we provide care for your feet. So I just wanted to come on today and share those little tips. You can always visit my website. It's freshstepsmedispa.com. You can email me at freshstepsmedispa@gmail.com. Again, if you have any questions, I'm always here to help. But in the meantime, be safe and care for your feet.